South African Police Service Ethics Champion, Lieutenant General Bongiwe Zulu, joins us now to talk to us about this. Dr. Zulu, thank you very much for your time this evening. In fact, on that package that we've just played by my colleague, Veronica Mahwadi, you highlight what we're hearing at the Commission, which basically sums up the rot within the SAPS.
Yes, good evening, leader and viewers. Thank you for the opportunity. Yes, we had Imbizo, and what we are seeing outside there, it's part of what we have to do today, having Imbizo, talking about fraud and corruption. Imbizo concept, you will understand where it comes from. Once you've got challenges and you call everybody who can come with the solutions, you have done everything, you've got your policies, you've got your strategies, you've got the oversight bodies being there, but we are still seeing these things. Are we implementing these policies, the strategies accordingly, or is there something else that we need to do to make sure that we address these challenges? That's what was Imbizo about today, and that's why we said, as Madlanga Commission comes on that side, as well as the Nkabinde Inquiry Ad Hoc Committee, all of them is not just listening, but it's also how to, we are listening, also learning, and also checking what can we improve in order to improve the whole system in terms of integrity and ethics in the law enforcement.
Yeah, you know, we heard in that package again how the badge has becoming a bargaining tool for benefits, luxury goods, and of course, greed. And you look at what the president has announced, some of the measures that the president has announced, it speaks to vetting top SAPS officials, right? But obviously, there are those from the ground who also deal with corrupt activities, having to receive bribes from the ground. In fact, during this week alone, we saw a video of a police officer allegedly being bribed in the streets. So it does not only speak to the upper echelons of the SAPS, but also the lower ranks of the SAPS who deal with ordinary South Africans on a day-to-day basis.
Indeed, we must say that although it's not everybody, I must first qualify without discouraging those members that are working hard and also are ethical ambassadors on the ground. Indeed, we need to improve in some of the issues around the fraud and corruption, including the ethical principles on the ground, because it's where the contact is. People, they start with a small thing to say, it's a Coke, 20 Rand or so. Whatever those small things, they become the big money at the end that will be coming to fraud and corruption. When we talk about ethics, there is no small wrongdoing. Everything that you do, it must be right. It must do it, integrity say, you must do it the right thing, even if no one is seeing you. So these are the issues that we need to look in terms of that. Even the vetting system, as you're indicating, improving the vetting system, we also discuss about to say some of those cases that you find, people that are being, alleged with this misconduct, you'll find that already they've got the vet, they've been vetted and they qualified. So what then we'll have to do, because which means the vetting system somehow is being bypassed, or after vetting, it becomes a passport to say now, because I've got a security clearance, I can be able to do. These are the discussions. Ethics is about making sure that there are talks about these ethical issues. Ethics about touching ambassadors who will go and say, these wrong things that are being done, we want to get rid of them, and there must be someone who will stand. And then the leadership of the organization at all time must set its tune. So those at the ground, they will learn from those at the top that doing the right thing is the right thing.
Yeah. In your discussions during the Imbizo, did you have a discussion about where the gaps are and what leads to the capturing of senior officials? In some gang-infested areas, there are allegations of infiltration. So where are the gaps if there are some of the members who are passing through the vetting system?
these are the gaps that I'm talking about. Some of them we're already discussing them today, because we are also continuing tomorrow to finalize with our resolutions. We find that indeed, although we do have your vetting system, you do have your integrity management, with all of this what we are doing, but there are still the gaps that are there. We still need to get into an organization where we are going to internalize and institutionalize what we call is the doing the right thing, the ethics as well as the integrity. Because if these gaps are not being addressed, we'll continue having this particular problem. So calling everybody to Imbizo, we said, let us sit down and identify these gaps. Some of these gaps, we already know them, like the vulnerabilities in terms of the procurement and the supply chain. That was the thing that we say, we identify it's a gap. So we need to go and say, what can we improve? Based on what we've got PFMA, you've got oversight bodies, you've got everything, but we are still finding this gap. Why are we having this problem? That is what we'll also be looking at. We look in terms of internal controls. Yes, I've indicated that we've got policies, we've got national instructions, we've got PFMA, but we still have these problems, which means that there are oversight gaps or even accountability in terms of making sure those that are given authority to make sure that things are being done correctly. Sometimes we find that there is a gap on that one. We'll see exactly, because these are the discussions that were happening. So how can we improve our internal controls? And we also identify a gap where, if you look in terms of what is happening on the commissions and ad hoc, you see a culture of a silence where a person sees something and then instead of telling the person that is wrong, but you protect the wrongdoers. Because if we are not stamping our foot in terms of all those wrongdoers, say, yeah, no, you cannot do it on our name as the South African Police Service. You cannot come outside and corrupt the organization. We cannot, if a person was, I was talking about a person, I'm afraid if a person say, may you do me a favor? I change my face all the time, because favor, it starts with a favor, and then it becomes a corruption, it becomes what we are seeing every day. So these are the things. We're also building the vocabulary. How can we manage the vocabulary so that our vocabulary will be in line with ethical principles as you talk as an ethics ambassador, as a member of SAPS, as a member of law enforcement? You must understand what language is being used outside there and which language you must utilize as an ethics person. And also we spoke about the issues of the whistleblowers. There are a lot of people that they've got information, but based on the danger the whistleblowers that are finding themselves in, it was also a lot of discussion we've done on that one, because people just said, yes, even you've seen something, but because whistleblowers, they get victimized, they also get killed, and it became a problem in terms of how we deal with that. We had NPA, we had also the whistleblower house, which they were coming with all the interventions, what is happening, but as we finalize the conference, the Imbizo tomorrow, we'll be coming with the concrete resolution in terms of how can we improve in terms of the whistleblower systems. And we find that we also have, we are getting these behavioral risks. And the behavioral risk is where we find that people, they start now behaving in a certain way. I'll give a a simple example that I've given to say a person sees someone driving a certain car, and then they say, oh, I want this car. But you don't check how much the affordability. And this one was driving this car. When you see that you are in this rank and you are driving this one, then now we'll move to the next rank. You are creating unnecessary burden in terms of the financials. You are creating the status, which now you must fit in a certain group, which now it gives you now this burden to say you must get something so that you can maintain your life, which you created yourself as a problem. Yeah. So this greediness, and it becomes a problem, which I think we need to deal with in terms of how we control ourselves, so that we know that to be a police officer, to be a law enforcer, it means that you are a servant. You must serve. A servant is not rich, is not wealthy, is only there just a servant, is there to serve the community. That is the talks that we are talking when we are talking as ethics, as an ethics champion, as ethics committee, and the ambassadors on the ground.
Yeah, Dr. Zulu, we've run out of time, so I want you to give you at least 10 seconds to respond to this one. You've touched on the issue of the whistleblowers, which is something I was coming to, and I wonder what the members of the SAPS that you're in conversations with make of the announcements that have been made by President Cyril Ramaphosa to protect those who know something but are scared to blow the whistle because of the consequences that may come. Is it warmly welcomed, or is there skepticism given the country's history with protecting whistleblowers?
I think the members there, they were welcoming the issue of the protection of the whistleblowers, as long as we are strengthening the protection. Yes, we are welcoming, but they were saying that if they can strengthen the protection from the status it is now, we really, really appreciate that intervention of introducing the whistleblower protection.
Dr. Bongiwe Zulu is the South African Police Service's ethics champion, joining us on that conversation about the Imbizo that they are holding in light of all the allegations that are coming out about the infiltration in the SAPS. So now they're sitting together, coming together to have a discussion about mapping a way forward. But at the